The area we was going into was a very bad area. It was right on top of Taliban stronghold, and casualty reports was phenomenal. What's going to happen when I'm gone is going to happen, but I can do my best while I'm there and give my soldiers my all, make sure they all come back home safe.
Rusty Dunagan always knew he wanted to join the military, but after the attacks of September 11th, his conviction grew even stronger. In 2006, Rusty went to basic training at Fort Benning, Georgia. From there, he was sent to Fort Hood. After a year of training, Rusty was deployed to Iraq.
It was definitely a culture shock. Being, country boy from Oklahoma, I could tell you in about the first 10 minutes of daylight there that, as Americans, that we're very privileged.
Rusty served in Iraq for 1 year before returning to the United States to await orders at Fort Carson, Colorado. One evening at a bar in Colorado Springs, Rusty met a young woman named Angie.
He did not kiss me for about 2 weeks. And I told my friend, he don't like me. He hasn't even kissed me.
If something's right, it's going to happen. I wanted to make sure that, it was genuine.
2 months later, Rusty and Angie were married. That August, Rusty was deployed to Afghanistan. On September 22, 2010, Rusty's squad received word that the Taliban was preparing to execute a nearby group of villagers.
So it was our job to put ourselves in between the bad guys and the villagers and stop the execution by all means necessary.
As Rusty's squad circled through an orchard, a landmine was detonated, setting off a second explosive device where Rusty was standing. The next day, Angie was visited by 2 Army officers who told her of the terrible news. She immediately called Rusty's mother.
I said, "Oh God, just tell me he's alive." And she goes, "He's alive, but he's lost both his legs." I said, "Oh my God." She goes, "He's lost his arm." I said, "Oh my God, this is my baby."
Rusty arrived at Walter Reed Medical Center on October 1st, 2010. Angie and the kids arrived the next day.
And I went up to him and I started crying because I wasn't looking at a casket with an American flag over it. I was looking at him physically. I could give him a hug. I could be thankful that he was still alive.
He was virtually helpless. Angie and I took turns feeding him.
Every time you're sitting in that hospital room, you're like, are we ever going to leave this place? Are you ever going to get better to come out?
Rusty did leave the hospital, but finding appropriate housing was extremely difficult.
So he would have to deal with trying to maneuver in the kitchen and try and get to the dining room table between the couch, and there's not so much room. It's difficult on him and it's difficult on everyone else because then we get frustrated with the situation and then it leads to being frustrated at each other.
A narrowness can really restrict somebody's movement in a wheelchair, and then that makes all the difference being in a home that you enjoy to be in almost like a prison.
We first heard of Rusty's story from his Aunt Susan. And when the Lieutenant Dan Band played our next concert at Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio, I finally had a chance to meet Rusty and his family in person.
He came out to us and said, "Hey, I'm going to build you a home." And we're like, "Okay, yes, sir."
He's really cool. Without him, we wouldn't have a bond that's created through the foundation.
They've always thought of the kids. And I love that they always bring the families involved with everything from day one till the end.
The Dunagans chose to live just outside Oklahoma City, near Rusty's hometown. And in 2014, the Gary Sinise Foundation, in collaboration with Building for America's Bravest and support from the local community, began construction on their new home. On May 20th, 2015, the Dunagan home was completed and they were handed the keys.
We are very glad for this home. Super excited for this home. Just being able to get around and stuff and getting into the kids' rooms.
I can look at the screen off the iPad and say, oh, the door's not locked. I can hit the button and lock it.
There's always that light at the end of the tunnel. We've gotten there. We found the rainbow.
I might not be the most deserving guy for a house like this, but we're definitely very grateful.
Rusty Dunagan and his family view their new home as a new beginning, a place where Rusty can have the independence to be the husband and father he wants to be. At the Gary Sinise Foundation, we serve our nation by honoring our defenders, first responders, their families, and those in need. To learn more about the Gary Sinise Foundation and how you can support other veterans like Rusty Dunagan, visit GarySiniseFoundation.org.